So I decided to do another video reflection for the fieldwork assignment number 4 about the lessons plans of real teachers. I think the video feedback went really well last time, and seeing as I know that you're a fan of technology and I am obviously a fan of video, I thought this would be another good approach to this assignment. I contacted 4 teachers. I contacted obviously my fieldwork teacher and spoke to him after class. I talked to another fieldwork teacher who I had last year. I won't say this teacher's name just for confidentiality, but also a really good teacher that I have a good relationship with. And then I Facebook messaged 2 teachers that I know that are also friends of mine that live in the area, and asked them what they did for lesson planning. And what I was really looking for were pretty much 2 things. What do you do for lesson planning, and what does your principal expect you to do for lesson planning? Most of these teachers have been teaching for quite a long time. One of them was more of a substitute and sometimes had long-term substitute teaching in Ontario. The other one was a full-time out west, so towards Saskatchewan, once again in Canada, and then the 2 fieldwork teachers were both at Soo High. All of them said that they never really did lesson plans. They said that they have seen teachers be forced to write lesson plans, but it's usually if they're kind of bad teachers and the principal keeps a closer eye on them. I think I had another teacher, my fieldwork teacher, said that he only writes lesson plans when the principal comes in to do an observation, because the principal requires it so that he can follow along. This ties in with some of our other things that we've been talking about how to run a classroom, because what one of these teachers also told me is that it usually takes about 4 times of teaching a class before a teacher can really feel comfortable teaching that exact material. So I think that lesson plans are really helpful in the beginning, especially when a teacher is trying to be organized and trying to take an idea, a concept, basically a goal. The goal is to learn this, and this. Those are the standards, right? And how do you achieve those standards properly? How do you make sure that you can cover everything and do it properly in a way that the students will actually understand? So it's not just coverage, but that it's uncoverage, and yet it still needs to be covered. How does that all get balanced? How does it make sure that it's made appropriate to the standards and that the students will be involved? It's almost like making a lesson plan is a way of keeping yourself accountable in the very beginning when you're not maybe strong enough to be able to just do it on your own. My fieldwork teacher said that he usually takes notes in a notebook and goes off of those notes rather than a lesson plan, and that by seeing his notes he knows in his mind what that means and how to teach it, how to break it down, because he's done it so many times. The same thing with my fieldwork teacher from last year. She writes her lesson plan actually up on a big calendar on the wall, and so Monday she knows that she's covering let's say Pythagorean theorem, and when she looks at that on the wall and sees that, that's enough for her, where she can take her content knowledge from there and expand. Now, if you would have asked me a year ago, do I think I could do this? I would have said absolutely. I am the type of person to just go off the cuff and make it work. However, now that I've been practice teaching for real, I see how really difficult it is. It is extremely difficult to go off the cuff. It is extremely difficult to know your content area well enough to make it digestible for 30 students in an hour, 4, 5, maybe 7 times a day with 7 different pieces of material. It is really, really hard. So I think lesson plans are tremendously helpful. I think it's like the same type of thing as having an outline for a speech. Just super helpful way to keep on task, accountable. How is it going to be made to fulfill the purpose that it's meant to fulfill? How will that lesson actually work? That's what the lesson plan does. And once the teacher can become more accustomed to teaching and get experienced with that, maybe that's when the lesson plans don't need to be used as much. As far as principals requiring it, no one really said that their principal did, except, like I said, when he was observing the class. And that's about what I've learned from it. So the takeaway that I have is that I would definitely like to use lesson plans for a while I get on my feet. And I might be a little bit more flexible with myself, because if my principal doesn't require it, then it's basically up to me, and I will do what I think fits best and what helps me and helps the students the most. Will it be a lesson plan every time? Maybe. Will it be as stringent and as detailed as what I do for Professor Light's class? Probably not. And I say that simply because when I fill out 1 or 2 lesson plans per semester, I put a lot of thought into them. But if I had to fill out like 4 a night, oh my goodness, that would be crazy if I put the same amount of detail in. So I think it's kind of a learning curve where it's something I definitely want to use for the next few years for sure, while I become really comfortable with my content area. And I guess I will find my groove, see what my principal wants, probably talk to people that I can get advice from on what's a good approach for a lesson plan, maybe even talk to my professors from Lake State once I'm out in the field, almost certainly actually. And that's about it. That's my plan.